Hello and welcome to EDLE 8312. My name is David Hicks and I am excited to work with you this semester on this class. This is my first time teaching this particular class. I've taught with West Georgia for a couple of years, but I have not taught this class before. And this summer I spent an immense amount of time actually revamping it altogether. So it is very different from the previous version of school finance. So please make sure that you let me know, especially with you guys being the first ones in the revamped course. Let me know anything you see, if dates are contradictory, if links don't work, or anything you see at all. I'd really appreciate you guys communicating with me and telling me that. I am in the instructor mode. Obviously, when you go into student mode, this is going to look somewhat different, but while I'm here, you will have announcements. I utilize this quite a bit. In fact, I've preloaded a lot of announcements, one for every week that come out on Monday mornings early. And so those will be on there. And then as things come up during the semester, I will also put announcements there. I try to also send emails when I post something new on an announcement. So I'll try to continue to do that as well. You probably know this, but your upcoming events are where you have your due dates of activities. So that is a good tool to use over here on the right. But I'm going to use the content way of looking at all of this. So I encourage you to obviously start at the beginning. And when you start with the welcome module, you will basically be introduced to the class. There's a little bit of information about me so you can know who I am and my experience, and hopefully that I bring a little bit to the table after all these years. But also the syllabus is accessible here, and obviously it's accessible across the top. Please make sure you review the syllabus closely because there is a syllabus quiz that is here that is due on August 17th. So make sure that's pretty quick. So make sure that you take that because that's how we register your attendance with the course. So it's important that you do that. Here is an outline of the assignments, quizzes, assignments that you will have, and a discussion in the course. I like to try to keep this where you could print it, and if that works for you, or at least save it, and where you can access it and keep up with all the due dates. So hopefully this will help you, but I would encourage you to do that. So when we jump in, and I try to go kind of fast because I don't want these introduction videos to be too long. Oh, let me mention one other thing. Hold on. Let me go over there. On the syllabus, you will see that that is my contact information, my email address, and my cell phone. You use whatever method of communication that works best for you. I realize that I am busy, but I probably have more flexibility in my schedule than you do. So whatever works for you works for me. And I really don't have office hours. I'm at your disposal. So whenever you're working, if that's when you have the questions, you contact me, whether that be in the evening, holidays, or weekends. I want to make sure that I know you don't always have the opportunity to work during the school day. So if you do, that's fine to contact me then too. But again, the main point being I'm here to help you. Don't hesitate to reach out if it's outside of what we would call normal working hours, if there's such a thing for a school administrator. But going back over here, the first module is about the history of school funding. Make sure that you follow everything in order. You do have some readings, obviously. Oh, by the way, there is not a textbook for the class, so you don't have to purchase one. Everything is either a recorded interview, conversation, or readings, or law that I have included as a part of the course content, but you do not have to purchase a textbook. But in Module 1, you will have a quiz on the history of education. All of the quizzes are 2 attempts. And if I set it up correctly, which I hope I did, let me know if I didn't, you get 2 attempts. And after the first attempt, it should display what you didn't answer correctly so that you can go back to the reading and figure out what that answer is. So never want that to be a gotcha situation. But again, if it doesn't operate that way, please let me know. And then you do have a Module 1 assignment that is based on the article that I included. So just make sure, again, you do those following the due dates. And while I'm thinking about that, when it comes to due dates, obviously this is graduate level courses. I expect everyone to follow those due dates, but I also understand that there are extenuating circumstances sometimes. This shouldn't be the pattern, but when you do have things that come up, the only thing that I ask is please, if you're not going to make the due date, you communicate that with me ahead of time and let's work that out, because the assignments will close and you won't have access to them. So please communicate any challenges you have ahead of time. And again, that shouldn't be the pattern, but I do know that you guys are busy, you have busy lives, and I'll work with you, but please communicate with me. So that is Module 1. Module 2, we get into QBE funding, which of course is the state revenue that Georgia sends to school systems. One thing that I've included in this course are interviews with people that are currently working in the field. This one, for example, is with a current director of finance, and he deals with QBE and allotment sheets frequently. So I've included the transcripts as well. They don't always transcribe 100% correctly, but I did that because as you're utilizing these interviews to help with assignments or quizzes, it helps if you can go through and see where it occurs in the video so you can jump right to that spot to get your questions answered. So hope that makes sense. But that's in place there. And then of course you will have information and an allotment sheet. I won't go into all that, but all the information related to QBE funding. You will have an assignment related to that, but you also will have a discussion. This only have one discussion in the course for the semester. You are assigned to 4 different groups. And so you will answer the prompt based on the FY27 Georgia Education Budget Primer. Not this whole thing, it's very long. So you'll focus just on these areas, and then you will basically share what you see as positives going into FY27 and what you see as not so positive things going into FY27. And you're going to post that in your discussion group. You won't do your own thread. I will start the thread in each group, and then you'll respond to that thread. And you can respond, the positives in one response, and then the negatives in another response, or you can put that all in one response. Either way is fine. So that'll make a lot more sense when you look at the instructions for the assignment. So, but again, questions, you let me know. Module 3, there's 2 conversations. One is with a sitting superintendent, and the second one is with another sitting superintendent. Same thing. I've included the transcripts in that. So just you watch it, use those, and then you do have one assignment, no quizzes in this module. Module 4, we get into federal revenue, federal funds for school systems. There is a quiz in this one, again, set up the same way with 2 attempts, and you will interview someone. So I want to point this out, that make sure you contact someone in your central office or in a central office that handles federal funds, and you will interview them. Strongly encourage you to share the questions with them ahead of time so that they can give you a more informed answer. And I'm sure they would appreciate that as well. But please don't wait till a couple days before this is due before you set that up because of people's schedule. Module 5, we get into capital outlay, which is state funds for buildings, renovations, and mods. You will have a sample facility plan for you to look at, a conversation with a person that recently retired as the state director over facilities for with the Georgia Department of Education. And so there's a lot of information in that. A lot of law in this section, but you'll look at those and you will have a assignment related to that at the end. There is a Module 5 quiz, but I want to go ahead and mention, and I have this written everywhere. I think I've mentioned this Module 5 quiz. That is towards the end of the semester, so you will only complete that if you want to. I would much rather you do the course evaluation. And then if you do, I will obviously put in full credit for the quiz. That's how that works. You can just simply email me when you finish that, but I would prefer that everyone answer that, especially since this is a new course, revamped course, so that we can get your feedback, because I want it to be useful for what you're doing and what you're learning about school finance. So your feedback is very, very important to me. All right, the key assessment, and it's a 1,000-point grading scale for the semester, and this is 300. So obviously this is very, very important. You will do a planning document ahead of time. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull that up, maybe. No, I'm not. Sorry. I forgot. It pulls it into another window, but it's basically a document, a one-page document that I've already completed, and where it's highlighted, this is basically just your plan. It's not the key assessment itself, and you basically modify it and modify the time that you're going to spend in each of the modules. You have to address each module, but what you address under that module, you have some autonomy and flexibility on how you do that. When you pull that up, it'll make a lot more sense, and that is due on the 20th. The key assessment is a little different, and it may be different from what you're used to, but you will turn back in your key assessment planning document again, and because you may have made changes, and that's fine if you do, from when it was first due November 20th, but you'll turn that in. But you also will turn in a presentation that you will record yourself, where you will talk through the various modules and how you've applied it, and then you'll reference back to the course content. Again, when you read the instructions, it'll make a lot more sense. But I do want to make sure you see, and I've written this several places, that you have to include slides. So whether that be PowerPoint, Canva, however you want to do that, but I want to be able to see you, obviously the video, but I also want to see the slides that you're referencing, and that'll be about 20 minutes or less. And it's basically how you're going to share what you've learned in the course and how you're applying it and those kinds of things. So there's not a paper, a big paper for you to do in the end. It's going to be a video. You are going to have to be very careful in what you select. I know 20 minutes sounds like a long time, but it's a lot of information. So you need to be succinct in how you do that. Substantive, but succinct in how you talk about it. So again, look through that. You will have plenty of time. I concluded the last module prior to this one. Let me go show you that. The Module 5 outlay basically finishes the 15th, and then your key assessment of November, and then your key assessment is December the 5th. So there's no readings or assignments during that time, or quizzes. Well, there is the one that you can take if you don't do the course evaluation, but I don't really count that one. But December 5th, so you have plenty of time to, please don't wait till the last minute, but plenty of time to plan that out, to contact me with concerns or questions. So please make sure you do that. That is mostly it. Obviously, I think most of you know that you can access your assignments, your discussion, and your quizzes under assessments. But again, I want to emphasize that I'm here to help you. I'm here to be of service to you. When you need me, you reach out. You have questions or concerns, you reach out. And I think this is going to be a learning experience for both of us. And again, I look forward to working with you.